Hey guys, Cameron here. Today I want to talk to you about my double hammock setup. This is where I can hook two hammocks to two trees, so be right next to each other. I use this for me and my sons to be able to sleep right next to them, makes them feel better while still getting to sleep in the hammock. This is a really cool system so that you are right next to each other, but you're not actually touching each other. So every time you move, you're not throwing an elbow or something like that into each other. And what I use are these ENO fused tandem hammock spreader bars. And you can pick these up at REI or on Amazon or something like that. They are $30. And for the set of them, for the two spreader bars, it comes in at 10 ounces. So not the lightest system in the world, but definitely not the heaviest. And they are definitely really convenient, and it's awesome for the price and ease of access, being able to order these and get them, or just run to REI and pick them up. These are some really cool pieces of gear. They're cool colors, kind of like how most ENO hammocks are if you've seen college kids hanging out around campus. But what they do is they have a shock cord in them, kind of like a tent pole, and they snap together like this to make a rigid bar. You have two of them come in the set, and they can go either direction, one for the head end and one for the foot end. So I have two hammocks set up from two trees right behind me. I'm going to install them and show you what that looks like, and then I'm going to get my little buddy over here with me and show you what it's like to have two people hanging right next to each other. Alright, so setting these up is really easy. Each bar has this sort of gate closure on the end, kind of like a carabiner, and it's spring loaded, so it automatically closes back up, and it's really simple to put it on. These are war bonnet hammocks, but you can put this on obviously ENO hammocks, pretty much any hammock that has a suspension system coming off the end of it, which is every hammock. These bars will work with that, and all you do is open this gate up and slide that onto there, and it automatically closes itself. Then push it open and do the same on the other side, and that's your system right there. So you have the hammock suspension running through each end, and now I'm going to walk down to the foot end and do the same thing. So you might can already tell that these are a little bit spread out now, and that's from putting the bar on the other end of the hammock. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to open this gate up and just kind of hold it open with my finger, put it on there, push that over, and open this side up as well. Slide it on there. Now there's my hammock suspension system, and I'll back up a little bit and show you what that looks like. So there's a little bit better view of what the hammocks look like now. They're still connected to the same two trees, but you can tell there's much more space in between them. Here's a little bit better view from the end of the gap between the two hammocks. I'd say it's probably about 1.5 feet worth of gap. Now once you get in there, you'll be a little bit closer once you turn diagonally to lay in your hammock, but definitely still not touching, and you'll probably end up having about a foot to 6 inches between you. Still plenty of room to move around without getting an elbow or a knee from somebody. Alright, so now let's talk about actually laying in them. So if you can imagine, the two hammocks are like this side by side. So if there is no one in this hammock and I sit down in this hammock, the weight for me is going to push this hammock down, and the spreader bar being connected to the other hammock is going to push this hammock up. So that's just how it works out with the two hammocks hooked together. So now imagine there's two people, and one of them is much lighter than the other one, as say a kid, which I'll show you in just a second. So if my son gets in this one here and he pushes it down just a little bit, then I get in this one here and I weigh much more than he does. It's going to push him up even though he's still in the hammock, and you'll be hanging not level with each other. So what you can do to offset that is you can hang one hammock up higher originally. So if this is my hammock, I will put the suspension up higher than this hammock. So whenever I get in it and he gets in his, whenever my weight will push down a lot more than his does, it brings us up closer to being level to each other. And I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so these are our two suspensions hung to the tree. We'll say this one here is for my son's hammock and this one here is for my hammock. You can tell how they're basically the same height up here on the tree. And so like I was saying, whenever we get in, I'm gonna go way down and he's gonna go up. So to offset that, I'll just hang my suspension up higher than his, and all you have to do is basically just move it up the tree about like that. And so now my actual hammock over here is hanging up higher, but when we get in, it offsets and it comes back to level. So that's what I do when it's me and him. If it's like me and my wife or somebody who's a lot closer in weight, you can just change your offset a little bit and it'll still come out about the same. All right, so I'll give you a shot of just one person getting in the hammock and notice what happens to the other hammock that I'm not getting in. So you notice how whenever I sit down, that one goes way up in the air. So there's not anybody in there. There's no weight. That's totally normal. That's what's gonna happen. Now, you'll wanna set your hammocks up low enough to the ground where when two people are wanting to get in and that one right there goes way up, either you're both gonna have to get in at the same time, or you're gonna have it set up low enough to the ground to where one person can get in and that one's not so high that the second person's not able to get in. All right, so I want to show you what it's like to have two people in there, and we are of drastically different weights. So Ethan weighs like 35 pounds, less than 40 pounds for sure, and then I weigh close to 200 pounds. So there's going to be a big change whenever I get in. So he's in the blue hammock. The blue hammock is set up lower than the green hammock, but whenever he got in, it also pushed it down a little bit. So now watch what happens whenever I get in this hammock, and I'll show you what I meant by kind of evening out. You see how we are both about level now? So that's why it's important to know about how much each person weighs. So whenever you're hanging with someone who's much lighter than you, they want to start off lower than what you're going to start off. Now if it's two people of similar weights, you can hang your hammock suspensions about the same. All right guys, so that was the ENO Fuse Tandem Hammock Spreader Bars. Like I said, around $30, and you can pick them up easily from REI or Amazon or some outdoor company like that. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.